St Helens. Good morning, St Mary's. Mr Spence here. We've got a special assembly today because Mrs Scriven has got a special assembly for St Mary's, and Mr Chappell's got a special one from St Helens. So I'm going to hand over to them in a second. But just before I do, I just wanted to remind you that on Thursday, we're going to be celebrating our Harvest Festival. And so we'd love you to come into school. You might remember this from last week, bringing in an item of food that you can donate to the North Bristol Food Bank. And on the way into school in the morning, you'll be able to drop it off into a box just by the gate on the way in. And the things that the North Bristol Food Bank are really keen for us to bring in, you'll have had a shopping list in the newsletter or on the email: deodorant, shampoo, rice pudding, custard, washing up liquid, sponge puddings, or tinned fruit. So if you can try and find one of those things to bring in, maybe from the kitchen cupboard, or if maybe your family can add an extra thing to their shopping when they go to the shops this week, bring it into school on Thursday morning, and then all of that food's going to be donated and given away to the North Bristol Food Bank. That would be amazing. Well, I'm going to hand over now to Mrs Scriven and to Mr Chappell for the rest of the assembly. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Good morning, St Mary's, and welcome back to all the children and adults in school who've been off for the last couple of weeks. It's so lovely to have you back in school again. So today we are gathered here as a community to worship together and think about our value of hope. Now we're in our last week of our first term, and I just want to say how much I've enjoyed seeing you exploring your learning, enjoying your learning, and excelling in your learning this term. I loved seeing your books last week when we came round. We had a look at your English and your maths books, and I can see that you're all making a real big effort in your learning. So well done. I can't wait to see your work again next term. So thank you, everybody. Now I want to introduce you to some people who I think that some of you in school have been learning about these special people in class this term. And if you haven't learned about them yet, you will soon be learning about these people. So these are our special St Mary's Brave Changemakers. I want to introduce you to Seacole, Pankhurst, Attenborough, Luther King, and Muller. Now, if you used to be in Greenhouse, you're now going to be Attenborough. If you were purple, you'll be Muller. If you are yellow, you are now Pankhurst. If you are red, you are now Seacole. And if you are blue, you are now Luther King. And these people did some remarkable things. They brought about change, both socially and environmentally. And I hope that through the learning in class, you can see and have a better understanding about why we've chosen these really unique, special people. And maybe we can learn a little bit from them. So I wanted us today just to take a moment before Friday. So on Friday, we're going to be seeing who this term's winning house is. But before we get to the end of the week, I wanted to reflect back at the very beginning of us thinking about being brave change makers. And I want us to think about that quote that we heard from Greta, who said that no one is too small to make a difference. Everyone can do something. Now, if everyone did something, then huge differences can happen. Now, our curriculum here at St Mary's, we are trying to help you to see that you can make a difference. You can make a difference in your classroom, you can make a difference in your family, and you can make a difference in the community. And we do that through looking at our brave change maker skills, which we celebrate each Friday. I want us to think a little bit more about Greta today and to reflect back at some of the work that she's done to try and make a difference. And I'm going to be sharing a story with you today called Greta and the Giants. And this story is inspired by Greta's Stand to Save the World, but it's not directly about her. Okay, so here we go. There was once a girl who lived in the heart of a beautiful forest. Her name was Greta. One morning, things weren't quite as they should be. Greta stepped out into the garden, and there, huddled together in the shadows of the trees, were the animals of the forest. A soft, silvery brown wolf stepped forward with his tail to the ground. "Please help us," he whispered. "The forest is broken and we don't know where to go. The giants are ruining our home." The giants had always been there, for as long as Greta could remember, but now they were worse than ever. They were huge lumbering oafs, and they were always busy. They chopped down trees to make their homes. Then they chopped down more trees to make bigger homes. These houses grew into towns, and the towns grew to cities. They built factories and shops and cars and planes. They worked all day and night until eventually there were hardly any forests left. But the greedy giants had forgotten how wonderful the forest was. They didn't see all the little birds and bugs and butterflies and bears that trembled in the shadows. And no one told them to stop because everybody was scared of them. Everybody except for Greta. "Will you help us?" asked the wolf. Greta looked around her. The animals looked tired and sad. She had to help them. But how? Then Greta had an idea. The next morning, Greta went into the middle of the forest and waited for the giants to come. She stood alone, holding a big sign. The sign said, "Stop." She waited and waited. On the first day, the giants didn't see her. They lumbered by. And on the second and the third day too. But on the fourth day, something strange happened. A little boy who'd been watching Greta made a sign and came and sat down next to her. He didn't say much, but Greta knew that he felt like she did. Soon, more people and animals saw what they were doing and they joined too. Before long, a huge crowd filled the forest, stretching out to the city and the roads beyond. They stood together and waited. The crowd was huge. The giants were stopped in their tracks. "Please stop," Greta cried. "Your greedy behaviour is spoiling our home. You've broken the trees, trampled the flowers, and now the bees and birds have flown away. The animals are homeless, and our forest is dying." After Greta spoke, everything was silent. But then everyone in the crowd began to shout, "And please stop cutting down the trees. You can help plant some new ones and mend my home. We need you to take care of our forest and live together. Will you please try?" they all said. The giants shuffled and fidgeted and stomped their feet on the ground. They were embarrassed and they were a little bit sad. You see, the giants were so busy building that they didn't see what they were doing to the forest or the animals who lived there. The giants felt terrible. "We're sorry," they said, and they promised to try harder. So from that day on, the greedy giants weren't so greedy. They slowed down and learnt to sit quietly. They stopped working all of the time and instead took up new hobbies. They stopped chopping down trees and learnt all about gardening and living in the forest. They cooked, repaired, tidied and shared, and before long, the forest became more beautiful than they could ever have imagined. Now, I want you to think about that story. And on the board here, you'll see that I've shared our Brave Changemaker skills. And these are the skills that we learn about through our curriculum. And these are the skills each week in our celebration assembly that we celebrate when some of you have really demonstrated these skills in your learning or your attitude or your behaviour in school. And I want you to think about which brave change maker skills did Greta demonstrate in our story today? Now, Greta remained hopeful even when she didn't immediately have an impact. In which part of the story do you think it was hardest for Greta to hold on to hope? And finally, when things seem bleak, how do you hold on to hope? Now, I want you to think a little bit about our story today and how Greta, she had that fantastic quote that we had at the beginning where she says that no one's too small to make a difference. And in your classroom, you're not too small to make a difference. And I want you to think about just one of you trying that little bit harder, focusing that little bit more, what impact you could have in your classroom. And just like Greta, on her own, that had a limited effect. But when there were lots of people who joined together with Greta, they had a massive impact. And that just goes to show that in your class or in if you're trying to bring about change, it's hard on your own. But if you don't put your effort in and you don't have a go yourself, it's very hard to bring about change collectively. So on Friday, I'm really looking forward to discovering which houses have earned loads of points this term. Because again, individually, you would have been earning dojos this term, but collectively, let's see which house has won the competition. And as we finish today, I'd like us to bow down our heads, and I'm going to share a prayer with you this morning. And if you'd like to make it your own prayer, you can join in with Amen at the end. Creator God, who reaches out to us in friendship and gives us hope, thank you that you have made each of us unique and special with the potential to be amazing. Help us to enjoy your gift of life, explore the opportunities you give, and do our best so that we can excel in all you call us to do. May we be hopeful like Abraham, so we can bring peace and light within our school community. Amen. And just to finish, I'm really loving seeing some of your Charlie Mackesy art, inspired art around the school. It's absolutely fantastic. And I know that Year 5-6 have really been looking at the words in his book too. And I wanted to share this one with you today because I think it really fits in with the our brave change maker theme and that original quote by Greta. I'm so small, said Mole. Yes, said the boy, but you make a huge difference. And as we're listening to our final song for today, our song, I want you to think about what difference you can make and hold on to the hope that you will be making a difference in your class, in your family, in your school, and in your community. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
I'll be there when you want me somewhere, somehow. 'Cause baby,